Welcome to my official picks and predictions for week 3 of the 2024 college football season. In this video, I'm going to go through every single top 25 game and I will predict the scores as well as the over-unders and the spreads. Now let's kick off this video with the Friday night game between number 14 Kansas State and number 20 Arizona. This game will be played at 8 p.m. Eastern Time this Friday. And I actually like Arizona to win this game in a shootout 38-31. I would definitely take Arizona to cover that 7.5 point spread. And I have the over 56.5. Kansas State's passing defense struggled against Tulane last week. And Arizona has a really great offense with Noah Fafita and Tetairoa McMillan. I know they only scored 22 points last week, but let's not forget they put up 60 points in week 1. It was confusing how they only scored 20 points last week, but I like Arizona to match up well with Kansas State and have a good offensive game. And Arizona used to be in the Pac-12 and they're used to playing these Friday night games. Give me Arizona in an upset, 38-31. Let's move on to the Saturday games. We have number 4 Alabama going to Wisconsin to play at Wisconsin. This is going to be a tricky game for Kalen DeBoer and Alabama. This game will be the big noon kickoff game at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. But I do like Alabama to get it done on the road and win this game 31-21. But I have Wisconsin covering that pretty high spread, and I have the over 51.5. Alabama should not lose to this Wisconsin team. They haven't impressed me. But I have a feeling Wisconsin is going to come out to play because they have this game at home, and this is a huge opportunity for them. So even though Wisconsin hasn't impressed me this season, I expect them to keep it close because Alabama still has some things to clean up, and the offensive line doesn't look great. But regardless, Alabama is way too talented of a team, and I like Kalen DeBoer to lead Alabama to a win in Madison. The next game is Tulsa versus number 13 Oklahoma State. This game will be played Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And if Oklahoma State doesn't come out to play in this game, they could have trouble in this game. Tulsa isn't a terrible team. They have some offensive upside. But regardless, I do like Oklahoma State to score a bunch of points in this game and win it 48-23. And I have them covering the spread, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't cover the spread. But I definitely have the over 62.5 for this game. The next game is South Carolina versus number 16 LSU. This game will be played Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And if LSU had this game on the road at night, I would actually pick South Carolina to pull off the upset in this game. South Carolina is 2-0 and they're coming off a blowout win against Kentucky, and LSU is still trying to figure some things out. They had a weak performance against Nicholls last week and they lost to LSU in week 1. South Carolina definitely on the road is not a team you want to take lightly, but LSU lost to USC week 1. I like them to bounce back and beat South Carolina. I think it will be close though. I have them winning it 31-28 and I have South Carolina plus 7.5 and I have the over in this game. But early in the season, LSU is still cleaning some things up, and this could be a tough road environment for them to play at. They're just lucky that this isn't a night game because South Carolina plays really good at night. The next game is number 17 Michigan versus Arkansas State. This game will be played Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I like Michigan to win this game 34-10, barely covering the spread, and I definitely have the under in this game. I'm really not too impressed with Michigan. I think they are a borderline top 20 team. And that game against Texas could have been way more lopsided. Michigan has some concerns offensively, especially at the quarterback position, and they don't impress me at the line of scrimmage as well, and I think the defense has taken a small step back. Michigan is not anywhere near the same team as they were last season, and I don't see them coming anywhere near the playoffs this year. But regardless, Arkansas State isn't a great team. Michigan should win this game, bouncing back from that loss to Texas. So give me Michigan by multiple scores in this game. The next game is number 6 Missouri versus number 24 Boston College. This game will be played at a weird start time of 12:45 p.m. Eastern Time, and I believe this is the first of 2 ranked matchups for this week. We really don't have a bunch of ranked matchups for this upcoming week. It's kind of a quiet week of college football, but regardless, there are a bunch of decent games, and this is one of the games I am looking forward to. I might have been sleeping on Boston College this offseason. I wasn't expecting them to make a bowl game again, but they beat Florida State week 1 and they dominated them really. And they looked really good in that game. I'm not saying they're going to win the ACC or even win 9 or 10 games, but I do like them to be competitive in this game against Missouri. I think Missouri wins at 34-24, but I definitely have Boston College covering the spread and I have the over in this game. This is going to be a tricky game for Missouri. It will really test their defense because Boston College has some playmakers. And Boston College has a great rushing attack and they have a really good quarterback who can run the ball. So I expect Boston College to keep this game somewhat close, because after watching Boston College play Florida State, I'm a bit higher on them, and they should make a bowl game at the bare minimum. But regardless, Missouri is too talented of a team. They're a really good SEC team, and that offense should go off in this game. I have Missouri winning at 34-24. The next game is Oregon State versus number 9 Oregon. This game will be played Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Oregon has not lived up to the standard this year. There's a lot of people picking them to win the national championship, but it doesn't look like they are going to come anywhere near a national title with the way they have been playing. They beat Idaho by 10 in week 1. They did beat Boise State, who was a solid team, but they had to come back from behind in that game, and they needed 2 special team touchdowns to win that game. So Oregon really has a lot of things to clean up. They have some injuries and they have some guys out on the offensive line, but the offensive line looks terrible. But I do really like Oregon to cover that spread in this game. Oregon State is not a great offensive team, and I feel like this is going to be a game that helps get Oregon going. Boise State is one of the tougher opponents on Oregon's schedule because Oregon just does not have a tough schedule. And Oregon's familiar with playing Oregon State. I know this is a rivalry game, but I like Oregon to win this game big, 41-17. I have Oregon covering the spread, and I have the over in this game. Oregon's offense started clicking a little bit more in last week's game in the second half, and I have a feeling they're going to really get going in this game, and the defense should do enough to keep Oregon State from scoring a lot of points. Oregon really has time to pick it up over these next couple of weeks before they play Ohio State because they play nobody. They play UCLA and Michigan State, who might not even make a bowl game. And I don't see them really struggling with this Oregon State team, to be honest. Oregon State just isn't a great team, and they lost a lot this offseason. So give me Oregon big in this game. The next game is number 10 Miami versus Ball State. This game will be played Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I like Miami to win this game big. Ball State is not a great team. I like Miami to win this game 49-7 and easily cover the spread, and I have the over in this game. Miami is just too talented of a team to struggle with a team like Ball State. They are going to beat Ball State by a lot, just like they did Florida A&M and even Florida. They blew out Florida, which was pretty nice. And I really don't see a way Miami doesn't cover that spread. Miami has way too much offensive firepower, so give me Miami big in this game. The next game is number 15 Oklahoma versus Tulane. This game will be played Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is going to be an interesting game, and this will be a test for Oklahoma. I think Tulane keeps it close, but I do like Oklahoma's defense to do enough to win this game. Give me Oklahoma 27-19, but I definitely have Tulane covering that spread, and I do have the under in this game. Tulane looks like a pretty good team, probably better than people expected. Their freshman quarterback Mensah can really ball, and if Oklahoma doesn't come out to play in this game, Tulane has a shot in this game because Oklahoma only beat Houston by 4 points last week, and they only scored 16 points. Jackson Arnold did not have a good game at the quarterback position last week, and the offensive line does not look that great. I do like them to have somewhat of a bounce back offensively, and they should do enough to win this game. So give me Oklahoma 27-19, but Oklahoma is definitely on upset alert in this game. The next game is Purdue versus number 18 Notre Dame. This game will be played Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is going to truly test Notre Dame because if they can't bounce back and destroy Purdue, they have no shot at the playoffs. They legitimately have to win out, and there's still a couple of good teams on that schedule like Louisville, USC, and Georgia Tech. Purdue is a sneaky team this year. They have some returning production offensively. They were terrible last season, but nobody's really talking about Purdue, and maybe they are better than expected. This is a huge opportunity for Purdue at home to beat a Notre Dame team that did not look good last week. But I don't see Notre Dame just completely falling down and playing bad again. I like them to win this game 31-14. I have Notre Dame covering the spread, and I have the under in this game. But this could also be a game that has Notre Dame on upset alert. The next game is Utah State versus number 12 Utah. This game will be played Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm assuming Cam Rising will be back from injury. The injury didn't seem like it was that bad. So if Cam Rising is back in this game, Utah shouldn't struggle to score points in this game. But if Utah doesn't have Cam Rising, I like Utah State to cover that spread. But I'm assuming Cam Rising will be back, so I'm going to take Utah in this game 38-13. And I definitely have Utah covering the spread, and I have the over in this game. This is kind of a rivalry game, so maybe Utah State can keep this game close. Definitely if Cam Rising doesn't play. But Utah State did not look good against USC. They couldn't score any points. And Utah State's supposed to be a pretty solid group of 5 team offensively, but they didn't play good against USC, and I also expect them to struggle against Utah. The next game is Wake Forest versus number 5 Ole Miss. This game will be played Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Ole Miss finally has a decent test, but I don't think this game is going to be close. I know Wake Forest has some offensive upside, but I like Ole Miss to dominate Wake Forest on the road and make a statement in this game. Wake Forest is coming off a loss to Virginia, and I have Wake Forest losing back-to-back games. I think number 5 Ole Miss dominates Wake Forest on the road. I have Ole Miss 41-9. I have Ole Miss covering the spread, and I have the under in this game. I'm expecting Ole Miss's front seven to take a step forward, and I really think this team is going to show up to play in this game, and Jackson Dart is going to go off. There's just too much offensive firepower on this Ole Miss squad to completely sleep in this game, so I don't really see Ole Miss being on upset alert in this game, even though it could be a sneaky game on the road against an ACC school in Wake Forest, but I do like Ole Miss to win this game big. The next game is number 2 Texas versus UTSA. This game will be played Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Texas beat Colorado State 52-0, and I like them to beat UTSA by a lot. Give me Texas 45-10, and I have them covering the spread, and I have the over in this game. I'm really not too high on UTSA as most people are. I expect them to take a step back, and they got completely destroyed by Texas State last week. This could honestly be another shutout for Texas, but I'm going to say UTSA does score some points in this game. But regardless, this game will not be close. Give me Texas by a lot. And the next game is Kentucky versus number 1 Georgia. This game will be one of the biggest games of Week 3. This game is Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This game is not going to be close. And Kentucky is a team I'm also expecting to take a step back. I actually had Kentucky going 5-7 in the offseason. And Georgia usually rolls through these types of games. Even on the road, I like Georgia to win this game big, 37-10. I have them covering the spread, and that's almost a lock, and I have the over in this game. If it was last year, Georgia could struggle in this game because it is early in the season. But this is not a situation where the Georgia offense is trying to get going. They have multiple guys back. Carson Beck is back. And they have some great options at wide receiver. Georgia already proved that they can score points when they put up 34 on a really good Clemson defense. And I don't think they are going to struggle in this game at all. They have arguably the best quarterback in college football, Carson Beck. And this is going to be a game where Carson Beck puts up numbers and gets him in the Heisman campaign. So give me Georgia 37-10 in this game. The next game is number 23 Nebraska versus Northern Iowa. If you look at Nebraska's schedule, they have a realistic path to 7-0. And I could totally see this team being a sneaky playoff contender if they can win 10 games. And when you look at the schedule, I do not see many teams that they are going to lose to. Of course, they will lose to Ohio State, but every other game on the schedule is winnable. They could probably drop that USC game, but I'm not expecting them to lose to Iowa again. They nearly beat Iowa without a quarterback last year. And Wisconsin doesn't look good at all. So really, I'm thinking Nebraska is a 10-2 team. But regardless, they have to get through the schedule, and this is going to be an easy game for them. Give me Nebraska big in this game, 44-6. And as the time I'm making this video, the spread or the over-under is not out for this game. But regardless, I have Nebraska winning this game, 44-6. And the last ranked matchup of Week 3. Yes, there's not a lot of ranked matchups, but the next game is number 7 Tennessee versus Kent State. This game will be played at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Nothing much to say about this game. Give me Tennessee big in this game, 62-0. I like them to shut out Kent State. Kent State's a terrible football team. And I have Tennessee easily covering the spread, but I have the under in this game. But anyways, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel, because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.